Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on the 16th of October, 2022. I'm dava Money and I will be speaking, and Teresa Storch is providing us with her wonderful music. So we'll start with the music.
I don't know why I wanted to play this song today, maybe because of the clouds. But it's about the moon, so it's a mellow day. Mr. Moon, what's new with you? It's been a long time since we've sat and shared the view. Mr. Moon, well, I've been okay. When you've been gone, I've had the stars to light my way. Mr. Moon, well, I do proclaim there's a boy who's gone and stolen my heart away. What can I do when I've been a fool? I believed my own lies and even told you they were true. Is there only one for each of us? Could I miss my chance at happiness? When it's time to make my choice, will you be here to help me see it through? Is there only one for each of us? Could I miss my chance at happiness? When it's time to make my choice, will you be here to help me see it through? 'Cause my wish is true. I've made my choice, and now the rest is up to you.
Thank you, Teresa. It's at this time that we go into prayer together by taking a breath, by being in touch with our own divinity. Beloved presence, everywhere present. Teresa reminded us a moment ago of choice. Each and every moment, each and every breath, we have a choice. Today we look at the choice to be kind, even when it's hard. And we know, regardless of what is hard, that you are the source of all good. You are the source of all substance and of everything we need. So in that moment when we make a choice, we can pause and step into divinity, that which is around us and within us, and make the best choice. And so it is. We will hear from Teresa.
I love how you did that. That was cool. It's fascinating because I wrote that song based on it was called Choices. That was the song prompt. So this song, it's another old song. I don't know if I've ever played it for you guys, and I'm kind of psyched to do it because it's been a while. When I lived in Boston, I first moved there in 1999, and I would walk around the city and I'd ride the subways and I'd see the people, how out there the people are a lot more closed off and they don't interact as much, and it just, I guess it just inspired this song of like, what if something happens, what if, and this was long before 9/11, you know, it was kind of, well, I guess not that long, actually only a couple years before 9/11 when I wrote this. So this is what I was thinking at that time in 99. Once again I'm walking through my mind. This time I sense a danger. It's a battlefield filled with mines, and it's raining artillery. Once again I'm walking through the square, and I see the people on the street. Some smile back at me, others, let's just say, I'm forced to retreat. We need more empathy. What if some catastrophe with the people on the trains look up in time to react? What if there was blood? What about all those things we forget to think of? What if one day I just stopped thinking? For the first time I would notice all those things I see every day. And what would I really say? We said more therapy, analyzing's killing me. The people on the trains can't see. If you don't use your heart, what if there was love? What about all those things we forget to think of? And what about all those things? So can't they see I am doing the best that I can? Can't they see I am doing the best that I can? Once again you are speaking to me. This time I sense the barricade. It's that disparity between what you say and what you really mean. And what do you really mean? We need more empathy. And what if some catastrophe with the people on the trains look up in time to react? What if there was blood? And what about all those things that we don't like to think of? We said more therapy, analyzing's killing me, and the people on the trains can't see. If you don't use your heart, what if there was love? And what about all those things we forget to think of? What What about all those things? 'Cause I can see you are doing the best that you can. 'Cause I can hear what comes from your heart, not from your fear. Can't they see we are doing the best that we can? Can't they see we are doing the best that we can? The best that we can. The best that we can. And all those things.
Thank you, Teresa. We're all doing the best that we can. And because of your choice of song, I'm going to shift and read you a poem I wrote a few moments ago. It's called Kindness. Alone I sit, stand, or walk, alone in my sorrow, my worry, my pain, until you, ineffable you, touch my eyes gently with your glance and simply nod your head. And simply nod your head. So kindness, what is it? How do we do it? Especially when it's hard. Buddha said, when words are both true and kind, they can change the world. So not just kind words, but true words. We can't fake kindness. If someone says something to you that in language sounds kind, but it's not coming from their heart, don't we know that? Don't we sense that? You know, we listen, we feel with more than our senses. We are energetic bodies. And so we are picking up on the energy around us at all times. And remember for a moment what it feels like when kindness lands. Isn't there a softening? Isn't there a tenderness? There's something special. It can be a kind expression, it can be a kind word, it can be a kind gesture. And we know what that feels like to receive. So let us imagine and remember for a moment what it feels like to give that. You know, kindness is a gift we give another, but it's also a gift we give ourselves. When we are kind, I think our energy shifts. A few years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago, I attended my granddaughter's competitive soccer game in Northern Virginia. And the parents of both teams were on the same side, but in little groupings, and very vocal, really supportive of their daughters, their granddaughters playing. And someone perceived the referee to make a bad call. So the group supporting my granddaughter's team started yelling at the ref. I don't remember the specifics of the yelling, but I can recall the intensity, the fierceness, the non-kindness that was directed at this man doing his job. And then the group supporting the other team starts yelling at this group over here and yelling for the ref. And it just became a ruckus. And I observed myself yelling something at the ref, something unkind. And a part of me went, whoa, what am I doing? I don't even know that he made a bad call. I didn't see it, and I'm pretty observant in soccer. I played, I coached, I love the game. But I got caught up in it. I think that anger is contagious. I think because we're energy and it's an energy, it impacts our bodies at a cellular level. And it's so, for me, in that moment, it was so easy to get caught up on that. Our brains, we have a reptilian part of our brain from way long ago that immediately goes to us, them. They look different, they act different, they're yelling different things, so suddenly they are a them. And I got caught up in that. I'm grateful for the grace that helped me catch it early. And then I was just quiet and observing. So anger is contagious. Can kindness be contagious? I think so. I hope so. Lowell Fillmore, son of Charles and Myrtle, helps us understand the concept of grace when he says, remember that the grace of God is God's love in action. God's love in action. God's grace is unlimited and so wonderful that words can scarcely describe it. We can use such words as mercy, forgiveness, compassion, goodwill, kindness, inspiration, and generosity to describe God's grace, but they are hardly adequate to cover the fullness of its meaning. If you will, take a moment now to remember the experience of God's grace. There's a shift that happens. There's an expansion, I think, that happens. And we are real clear in that moment that we have a choice and we have the option to change that choice if we want. So I think at any time, with all of God's attributes, we can open to those, we can ask for those, and we can use them in our action. Our country is very divisive now. It's probably not the first time we've been divisive, but it's the most I've seen in my lifetime. Again, it becomes that us, them. And that may be when it's especially hard to be kind. So I invite us all to be aware of when our body, when our brain, our human brain goes into us, them. And to remember we have the choice of calling on God's grace in that moment to be kind. Kindness might look like just not saying anything. Kindness might look like saying something soft, gentle. I see you, I hear you. We follow the teachings of Jesus, the teachings and the actions. And so there are so many times that Jesus demonstrated kindness. In one instance, he demonstrates that kindness is not showy or proud. He had a crowd following him, and he came to a man with leprosy who knelt at Jesus's feet and said, "Oh, heal me, Master, heal me." So Jesus reached out his hand and healed the man of leprosy. The man said, "I am willing and I am healed." Willing. Think for a moment what willing means. Isn't that a kind of opening? It may even include an opening to God's grace. And then Jesus said to him, "Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone, but go to the temple and simply tell the priests and give them God's gift." So being kind is not a showy thing. It's not something, oh, I go around and brag, I was really kind today, because I think that might diminish it. Jesus reminded us to be kind to all. he was again moving along with the crowd of followers in Jericho, and Zacharias was trying to see him. Zacharias was a well-known tax collector. And remember, at that time, tax collectors had so much power, they didn't even have to obey the laws. They would often take more tax and keep it themselves. So they were hated and feared. This man was short, and he couldn't see Jesus through the crowd, so he climbed a fig tree. And Jesus saw him and said, "Come down, come down. Not only do I want to see you, but I want to stay at your house tonight." And the crowd was aghast because this was a sinner. And Zacchaeus said, "I will give half of all my riches to the poor. And if I don't do that, I will give 4 times as much." So there was a kind of conversion there for him. This man was perceived to be a sinner, but Jesus was kind to him. How can we be kind to the people we judge? As soon as we judge, we go into that us-them piece. We distance ourselves. I hope we can practice catching ourselves at that. And as humans, as a human, am not going to be 100% good at that. Hopefully I get better. So Jesus was going through Samaria, and he came upon Jacob's well. And Jacob was a really well-known person that had left this well and left this grounds to the Samaritans. And Jesus sat at the well, and a Samaritan woman came up, and he said to her, "Can you give me a drink?" And she looked at him and she said, "Who are you to ask a Samaritan for a drink?" Because it was well known that the Jews did not interact with the Samaritans. So she was aghast, she was shocked. And he said to her, "You can give me water, and anyone who drinks from this well will become thirsty again. Whoever drinks from the well of God will never become thirsty again, for that is living waters that lead to eternal life." So he was kind to this woman, even when she was shocked and kind of pushing him away. He was kind to her. And he made her aware of the gift that is all of ours. We know the story of Jesus walking again, surrounded by a throng of people, and a woman who had been bleeding for 12 years and was very isolated because of that. She touched the hem of his cloak, and she was immediately healed. And Jesus turned and said, "Who touched me?" And his disciples said, "Oh, it's just a busy, intense crowd. Everybody's bumping into everybody else." And he goes, "No, I felt power leave me. I felt power leave me. Who touched me?" And she trembled of fear and came and said, "It was me." And he said something to the effect of, "Good, good. Your faith has healed you." So there are a lot of components in that story that speak to me. One is your faith healed you. He didn't claim to be the healer. He claimed she was, because she had belief. How often do we hold on to and maintain our own belief? How often in the battle between soccer moms and dads do we lose that belief? It's recoverable. We can get it back. The other thing that struck me for the first time when I read this yesterday was he felt power leave him. What does that mean? I'm not sure, but to me, how I read it was when we are kind, when we give something, there is a power that moves through us and out of us. I don't think Jesus was diminished when he felt that power leave. I don't think we're diminished when we do something kind. We all know that on the cross he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." We've heard that line so many times. There's something kind of haunting about that. And what stands out for me is he names and calls out for forgiveness. Forgiveness is a kindness. For some of us humans, forgiveness is extremely hard. And I think that in part, that's because we misunderstand what forgiveness may be. Some of us may think that, oh, if I forgive so-and-so who hurt me, that diminishes the hurt. That means it wasn't really anything. They didn't really mean to do it. So it's kind of like erasing the experience. The best definition I ever heard of forgiveness was a couple decades ago, that it is unplugging from that person. That when we are resenting that person, when we are holding them and their acts in our minds and hearts, it's like we've got this electrical cords going into their body, into their soul, and we are feeding it with our lack of forgiveness, with our anger, with our sorrow. And that forgiveness is unplugging, one cord at a time, so that we have our full energy. It doesn't mean that what they did wasn't wrong. I think as humans, we can learn, oh, that happened to me. It hurt a great deal. It was a wrong thing. But I'm going to unplug. I'm not going to give that person any more energy because my energy is precious. My energy is divine, and it is mine to use in other ways. Henry Nouwen, who was a Catholic priest, talked about a number of polarities. One of those was from hostility to hospitality. And hospitality to me includes kindness. He taught that we can't go fully into hospitality until we have owned our hostility. We can't just ignore it, dismiss it, pretend it's never going on, and then be hospitable. That goes back to what Buddha said about true and kind. If we do that, then our hospitality is not true, it's not genuine. However, if we, at least to ourselves, acknowledge the hostility we have for someone or something, then we can do what Thich Nhat Hanh teaches us of hold that hurt, hold that pain like a baby, and allow ourselves to feel compassion for ourselves and our hostility. And when we do that, it begins to transmute, it changes, it shifts into a whole different kind of energy. And then we can move into hospitality. And one of the things that seems kind of magical about true hospitality is that the person who experiences it begins to change. Now, we can't provide the hospitality with the intention of changing them. But if it's real, true hospitality, think of that again as a kind of power, and the person feels it, and they may shift and change. And we might not even know about it. But how do we make a kinder world? I think it's by making these choices moment by moment and choosing to be kind, truly kind, not falsely kind. So I want to read a poem that I read long time ago. And yesterday I couldn't remember what is the poet's name. And so I'm meditating and the name Naomi came up. And so I Googled kindness and Naomi, and she came up. Love Google. Her name is Naomi Shihab Nye, and the title is Kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the windows forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead beside the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the clock. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Then it's only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere like a shadow or a friend. The kindness goes with you everywhere like a shadow and a friend. So why did this touch me so? I think as humans, all of us have suffered. I think we've all lost loved ones. I think we've all experienced disappointment when we wanted something and it didn't happen. I think suffering is a part of being human. And when we acknowledge our own suffering, and when we see that person, that other person, whether they're on the road dead or they're alive, there's something we have in common. We are humans having a spiritual experience. We are humans having a spiritual experience. And as such, we all make mistakes. Unfortunately, we all injure somebody at some time, and we've all been injured. So when we remember that deep sorrow and know that they too have experienced that, can that help us be kind? I think so. I hope so. So I asked a group of friends what they thought kindness was, and I'd like to just briefly share their answers. Listening without judgment. Giving without the expectation of anything in return. Caring about others. That sometimes kindness is doing the hard thing. I had to walk away from a relationship, and it was a kindness to her. Telling someone a hard truth can be a kindness. The essence, and remember this is one person's belief, the essence of kindness is not softness. It is about doing what is best for someone, even if it hurts in the moment. Kindness is the greatest wisdom. Kindness is acknowledgement of the necessity of reciprocity. That refers to the law of reciprocity, the law of attraction, the law of compensation. That which you put out, you get back. Kindness is from the soul. Giving and receiving kindness fills my heart. When I was a kid, my dad at times would say, I had the greatest opportunity to help somebody today. Let me tell you about it. And he would tell of some small or not so small kindness that he gave to someone, frequently someone he did not know. He looked so happy when he told me these stories. He looked so happy. Kindness is sincerely feeling from your heart. And Maya Angelou says, my wish for you is that you continue to be who you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Wow, can we astonish a mean world with our acts of kindness? I think so, I hope so. And so it is. So I want to invite all of us to be aware of our bodies, to be comfortable, and to take a breath. And just quietly remember kindness. Be aware of when we remember kindness, our body shifts, and notice that shift. And with awareness of kindness, how does that shift our mind? And if it serves you, you might want to take this moment to set an intention for yourself to be kind. And taking a breath, we gently open our eyes. And thank you for kindly listening to this talk. And we will hear from Teresa.
Would sadness go away if I dispelled my greed and gave it all to someone else in need? Could hatred disappear if I planted the seed and gave my love to those who made me bleed? 'Cause I'm so tired of this pain, and no one understands my need for change. And if I walked the pilgrim's path, could I become a saint and give myself completely to restraint. Could I see all my faults as a chance for love? Would it make me wise, make me humble enough? And I'm so tired of this pain. No one understands my need for change. And if I loved the world enough, could I see the face of God? Could I see the face of God? Could I see the face of God?
Teresa, thank you for capturing being human, having a spiritual experience. Beautiful. It's at this time that we go into our donation of love and light, which to me seems like an act of kindness. And we do that by taking a breath and being deeply aware of the love, the light that we are, deeply aware of our own divinity. And being in touch with that, we can sense it expand. We can make a choice at any time to share this light and this love. So in this moment, if we're willing, let us share it. We are reminded that this is an act of kindness with the grace of God. And so it is. And we will finish with music from Teresa.
Buddha sat for 7 years under a tree, watching the river wash him clean. John the Baptist told Jesus, wade into the stream so he could wash him clean. And I am here listening. Come sit down, this kitchen table is made of shaker wood. It is strong, has a spirit running through it. Give me details of your life, and I will pour the wine. Maybe we will find in Vino Veritas. Come clean, come clean, come clean, come clean with me. At times I feel alone, I peek through your window. If we threw them wider, we might ask, why are we hiding? The Buddha had a wife and child. He lived a life of luxury. And Jesus knew a woman, defended thugs and thieves. You have lived and loved your way. You made your own mistakes, but who am I to judge? I've lived the same way. Come clean, come clean, come clean, come clean with me. 'Cause at Sometimes I feel alone. I peek through your window. If we threw them wider, we might ask, why are we fighting? So if you trust me, you'll find trust. Love me, you'll find love. I'll tear down my defenses. It doesn't matter if we're friends, enemies, lovers, or countries. Just come clean. Come clean, come clean. Come clean, come clean. Come clean with me. Come clean with me. Come clean with me.